Welcome back. All right, so let us preview Sunday's games. We have 7 games on Sunday. It is an all-day Sunday kind of thing, but the latest games are actually kind of early, so I've already scheduled the live stream for tomorrow evening. So 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, we'll see the Washington Capitals against the Buffalo Sabres. On January the 3rd, Buffalo wins in overtime by a score of 5-4. The third and final meeting will be on March the 15th between these two. Now, the Caps and the Sabres, who thought that this would end up being potentially for who may or may not end up being in the playoffs? So they have 2 meetings, and it may very well determine which direction these teams take. Now, Washington apparently has assured Ovechkin they're not doing a full sell. They sold a couple guys off, yes, but it's not going to be a full sale. Now, they're 29, 26, and 6 over their last 10. The Caps are 3 and 7. Away from home, they're 14, 13, and 3. They're 1 point back of Pittsburgh, and they're tied in this schmoz along with Buffalo, Detroit, and Florida also involved in this just absolute mess of teams that are all caught with one another. So Buffalo, 30, 23, and 4 on the season. Notice they're 7 games above 500. Buffalo, or Washington's 3 games above. So games in hand for Buffalo. They're 5, 4, and 1 in their last 10. But their home record's been a problem. If Buffalo is really and truly going to make the playoffs, they have to fix this. They're 11, 15, and 2. 1 point behind Pittsburgh for that second wild card spot, tied with Detroit, Washington, and Florida. So I love this. I think this is great for hockey, and it's going to make for a very entertaining stretch to the playoffs. Then at 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, we got the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Minnesota Wild on February 23rd. Minnesota won 2-0. So we'll see how this one goes. Columbus, 1935-5, coming off of the victory over the Edmonton Oilers. Sloppy victory, but hey, it's a victory. They're 4, 4, and 2 in their last 10. They're 6, 17, and 3 away from home. They're 22 points behind Pittsburgh. Minnesota's 32, 21, and 6, on the other hand. They're 5, 3, and 2 in their last 10, but they're 4, 0, and 1 in their last 5. And they've started playing Minnesota hockey, which isn't the most exciting, but who cares as long as they make the playoffs. The Minnesota Wild, 19, 10, and 2 at home. They're tied with Seattle in that wild card spot. Seattle does have the tiebreaker. They're 4 points clear of Calgary. So for the Flames, with the setback they had tonight, really the numbers are not looking good for the Flames. But for Minnesota, they look pretty good. If they can win at home against Columbus, which they should, they make it that much better for themselves. Then at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, we got the New York Islanders and the Winnipeg Jets. The Islanders won this first matchup February 22nd, 2-1 at home. So a very recent meeting. These teams will remember. For the Islanders, they're 30, 25, and 7. Their last 10 games are 5, 3, and 2. They're 12, 14, and 4 away from home. That's a bit of a problem. They're 2 points clear of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So right now the wild cards are the Islanders and the Penguins. The Penguins have some games in hand on other teams around them. The Islanders do not. They need to win out. For the Jets, 35, 23, and 1 is their record, but over their last 10, they're 4 and 6. They've won 4 of their last 11, actually. At home, they're 20 and 9, but they had a rough game at home their last time out. They're 3 points behind Dallas now with the victory Dallas had tonight, and now they're tied with Colorado, and Colorado has the tiebreaker, so they're third in the division. Winnipeg needs to get this going because they're not far behind, or they're not far ahead of Minnesota either. 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific start between the LA Kings and the New York Rangers. On November 22nd, the Rangers won 5-3. LA's 33, 19, and 8 on the season. Their last 10, they're 6, 2, and 2. Away from home, they're 16, 10, and 6. They're 2 points behind Vegas. They're 2 points ahead of Edmonton. So pretty tightly bunched there in the Pacific still. The Rangers, 33, 17, and 9. They're 6, 3, and 1 in their last 10. But those 3 regulation losses are their 3 most recent games. So I'm thinking they've got to turn this around. At home, they're 16, 8, and 4. They're now 8 points behind New Jersey. It's not that long ago they were 1 point back in New Jersey. Now that dream is dead. They're 8 points clear of the Islanders. So they're still pretty firmly entrenched in the playoffs, but this 3-game losing streak, it needs to come to an end. 6 Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific start between Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won the first meeting on October 15th, 6-2. The third and final meeting will be on March the 2nd. Tampa Bay, 37, 17, and 4. They bounced back from that embarrassing loss against Buffalo. They got the victory against Detroit tonight. They're now 5, 2, and 3 in their last 10. Away from home, they're 15, 13, and 1. They are 2 points back at Toronto. For Pittsburgh, 28, 21, and 9. Their last 10 games, they're 4 and 6. Maybe the win today is a sign things are ready to turn around. We will find out tomorrow. At home, they're 15-9-4. They're 2 points back of the New York Islanders. They're 1 point ahead of Buffalo. Detroit, Washington, Florida. I love the East right now. This is the opposite of last year's Eastern Conference run. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the Nashville Predators and the Arizona Coyotes. November 21st, Nashville won this matchup in a shootout 4-3. And then February 13th, Arizona wins 4-2. So Arizona plays them pretty tough. The fourth and final meeting will be on March the 9th. For Nashville, 28-22-6. They did sell Niederreiter today. Doesn't necessarily mean they're selling altogether at the deadline. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're 12-12-3 away from home. They're 8 points back of the playoffs, though, behind Minnesota and Seattle. They're 5 points ahead of St. Louis. So they are getting to that stage where they're kind of too far behind, although they have some games in hand on teams they're chasing. Arizona, 20-29-9 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 5-1-4. They've been getting points. Which I'm sure for Arizona fans that are on Team Tank, probably kind of frustrating. At home, they're 13-9-2. They're 21 points behind Seattle and Minnesota. They're 2 points back of Vancouver in the standings overall. And then the last game we're going to look at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Seattle Kraken. Seattle went into Toronto on January 5th and won 5-1. Toronto, 36-15-8 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 6-4. Away from home, they're 13-9-4. They're 2 points ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay has played one less game, so we'll see how things go with this one tomorrow. If Tampa Bay wins, Toronto loses in regulation. We'll see Toronto drop to third. On the Seattle side, they're 32-20-6. Their last 10 games are 4-5-1. At home, they're 15-11-3. They are tied with Minnesota for that wild card spot, and they're 4 points clear of Calgary. So, for Seattle, they need this win. I think the Toronto-Seattle game should be highly entertaining. Could be a really high-scoring affair. Although, with Seattle coming off that 6-5 sloppy game against the Boston Bruins, maybe it'll be a bit more of a tight defensive affair this time out. So, let me know your winners in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support, and we'll talk to you again soon.